Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Samorost. I think it is something like that, like Sam, and then the last part of Forest 2. And this is like the tech demo for the Machinima game, or at least something. It's like the preview for it because it plays and feels like that. It has its own story, but it's definitely their first kind of packaging of Machinima, because it is really, really short. But I mean, it feels the same. It plays the exact same as Machinima, except for this one, I think, just because it doesn't have the book feature, the one that like helps cheat, that you can actually find out how to solve the problems. It's actually, I think it's a little bit better because it forces you to actually work through the problems. But at the same time, it is a little aggravating too, I'd say. Either way, I mean, I was looking around on Steam and I found this $5, so I said, you know, whatever. It looks, if it plays like Machinima, I'm gonna probably like it. But the problem came in is the fact that this is short. This is very, very short game, and almost arguably so. And I would definitely argue that it wouldn't be worth the $5 unless you were really, really, really hankering for another piece of Machinima. And I don't see that, but it's a fun little playthrough. But I mean, it's only like, it's only like 30, no more than 30-minute long game, and I guess maybe an hour if you hadn't played it before. But it's very, very short. I mean, I beat it in a very short period of time, and it really aggravated me how short it was. But I mean, like I said, this is like the tech demo. This is them just like putting stuff together and see how things work, and it actually comes up pretty nice. But either way, and I know I said I was going to do a Link to the Past LP, and I am still going to do that. I'm actually getting ready to work on that here real quick. But it was just one of those things where I was looking around. I'd just gotten some of my money, and I bought some games off of Steam, and I was like, hey, look at this, and it felt the same. So I was like, I'm going to do an LP of this game. But it just is kind of bad that it came out as short as it was. I mean, easier for me. I don't have to worry about recording too much crap and then editing and all that other stuff. But I mean, it's really, really short. I was hoping it'd be longer, but you know, can't complain. Machinima was a great game, worth every penny. This one, not so much. I can't remember if it was a problem in my Machinima playthrough, but it might have been, but I'm not sure for the whole thing. But Machinima was actually a Windows game, so it actually popped up as a window, and you can manipulate it and you can change a whole bunch of different things on it. Well, this game, it's fairly, it's unmovable. Like, there's, like, almost nothing you change on it except for, like, volume. And, you can't full screen it, minimize it, or anything like that. So, I basically, full screened it and started recording it. And then, as I was playing it, I could see the cursor, but you can't see the cursor on the recording. And I don't know why that is, so. I mean, it's kind of bad, but you can't see what I'm actually doing. But I mean, you can notice it if you're looking. But it's just, like that. I just clicking on the little what are those, like crank or some kind of gear there. And then you click on the monkey, and then you pump the water and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm trying to point out where that stuff is, and where I'm actually clicking and pointing at, like how to actually solve the puzzle. Because I mean, if the cursor was there, you'd see it working in action. But the cursor's not there, so we actually have to. I have to tell you about it. So I'm gonna be doing that right now, I guess. And here's the biggest thing about this game, that it didn't bother me, but it was just, I thought it was weird. You do all this stuff, and you do all this very kind of terrible stuff, and that you could have just got around without doing anything bad. Like, we just literally poisoned a snail so we could take his hammer and knock the guy on the head. Why couldn't we just borrow the hammer and then gave it back to him afterwards? I don't know. I mean, it's not really all that bad. I mean, I don't find that bad at all. It's one of those things that's like, it's so, why would you go to that much effort? You could just ask. This is one of the first puzzles I had any kind of trouble with. And this is because, like, the game actually moves back and forth to what you're supposed to do. Like, see that? I just dropped that rock down because you're supposed to bring that little, I don't know what you would call that, potato bug or whatever. You're supposed to let that guy go up there and get eaten by the little monkey. But the biggest thing you have to focus on is what changes over time when you're messing around in a short little level. And half the time, you won't ever click your person. You don't ever click your person. But every now and then, you have to go back and actually click on your character in order to have him do something. And that's I couldn't figure out to do for my whole life, because it was just like, because you never had to click on, you don't have to click on one before, and like except for that one part within the window. And it's so, like, you don't really notice, you don't really think about it. You're trying to look around in the environment, just like in Machinima, like, what goes where does this go, where does that go? And then really, I mean, it's not really all that complicated once you figure out the first gimmick of it, because you have to do that a couple times from here on out. But it's that first time, it's like getting into figuring out how to work the puzzle is one of the biggest things, and it's, like Portal and all that stuff. It's once you know the puzzle, you can actually get through the game very well. But it's just figuring out how the puzzle works in the first place. Now here's the puzzle I don't think they brought back in the Shinram, and it involves timing, and I really like it because it kind of makes you mad, but you work past it. It's like you're supposed to flush it, and there's like a little handle down there. You have to turn it to shut off the water. But if you don't hit it the first time off the bat, it gets it goes back up, and you have to redo the whole thing over. And I understand it, like that's just really aggravating in most points, but. I mean, it's not a bad setback. You just do it and you go with it. And you can probably move that into a much larger puzzle. I don't know why they didn't work that in there. But either way, I mean, it's just a small thing, so it doesn't really do much in this game. But I thought it'd be a fun thing to bring back into a bigger sense, much larger sense of the game. Like a huge puzzle based on timing, where you have to do this, this, and that in a certain timing pattern, or you mess everything up. But, this is probably the one major fault I have with this game, is like they don't kind of tell you what you're supposed to do for a puzzle, or there isn't like a hint or anything like that. Because with a lot of Machinim's puzzle, it was like you were supposed to do this or that, or they told a little cutscene, or they showed you a picture or something like that. Where they're all playing the instruments. You got to find those instruments for them. So you got a goal or an objective to do. With that puzzle, I mean, it wasn't very difficult. I got it right off the bat. All I got to do is line that stuff up. After like 2 tries, I figured out. Maybe I should line up all these red dots. So it's not actually bad, but it's actually this game doesn't really give you that much of a clue. It just it throws stuff at you, and you're supposed to work it and figure it out. And even some people probably like that better than like this, but with me, I'm terrible at adventure games, because if I don't have a definite goal, or at least some kind of parameter to work around, I kind of panic a little bit and go all over the place. Because I have almost absolute. I mean, I'm like a focused kind of guy. I like to grab onto something and really figure out a puzzle, get my hands on it and try to work around it. But when you give me you say, just give me a very basic thing, and there's 1,000 sub-steps, I get lost often on the way. That's why most of the time I actually have to use a walkthrough for a lot of my legendary, for a lot of my adventure games. Like this game I'm playing right now, it's called Siberia, which I can't play anymore because off Steam it doesn't work for some reason. But it's I needed a guide, because sometimes I just get lost, and I don't want to spend 50 hours going back and forth looking for crap. I just want a hint to get me to the next port, and then I'll forgo the guide again and work my way through it. But I mean, it's just this game, since it's so short, and since it's like the puzzles are so really compact, and there's nothing really outside the puzzles, like there's just one room and that's all that's in that room. Really, it actually works out pretty well because you can't get that much lost. But a clue or a hint in some cases would actually be beneficial. But most of the time here, it's just a very, very short guess and check kind of process, and you can easily get through it. And it still is very, very rewarding. Outside of the time factor that this game is incredibly short, there is one more thing that kind of bothers me. I mean, it's not that big, but it's definitely annoying at the very least, especially in this day and age. But it's the fact that we have codes for the levels. There's no like level save or anything like that, or some kind of thing like choose where you want to go or anything like that. It's just you have a bunch. You have a code input for the loading level. For loading a level, and you have that code, and it stays there, I think, pretty much forever until you click the exit, the X button, you close it out. But it's just, the first thing you do, because it's bothersome, is you push the button. I mean, you get rid of that thing right off the bat, and then you even have to force your way to make it through to the next level, and then write it down, or just somehow have it memorized, and that kind of bothers me, because there's almost... I mean, it's just, there's no point for that. I mean, there should be a simple save system, especially since it's so short, but, like, it's to remember that stuff, it's annoying, but I mean, I know I'm just blatantly complaining right now, but it really is annoying, and it's just, why do we have to have that? And, like, it's not too bad, but it's just one of those things that you shouldn't have to have, to remember a bunch of small letters and words and numbers. It should either save them for you, like have your last one be automatically in the load level, whatever that is, the blank slate or whatever, the blank input box, or at least have what you've already done up or something like that.